in my country is like perceived to be very developed, like better. Like if you go to school in Europe, you've found yourself life, you are set for life and all of those kind of things. So particularly people in Lesotho, they adore everything European. Like we see things in the movies, you know, we're like, wow, this place is actually so nice. And the place is like France, so like city of love. We envy it. It feels like this world where you go and your life is actually better. That's how it is. That's how most of us feel, actually, even though I don't know if that's how I still feel now, but that's how the majority in Lesotho would feel about Europe. So I think Africa has been associated with underdevelopment for too long, like for a very long time. So one, most people who go to school in Europe, like the top students in our country will go to like college in Europe and they never come back. And that feels like an accomplishment, like you broke free, like you went out of this country, so like you are free. So that is what makes people actually envy Europe. And I think number two is just the fact that in movies they have better buildings, better offices, there's food on the table and no one is eating the food and we are all there hungry. So it's just like, wow, everyone there is living so well. So I think because there's always overstimulation of information around, like we see things, we see tweets, we see TikToks all the time, we just feel like, yeah, this place is the place to be. So I think media plays a very huge role, and people we actually see going to Europe to never come back. And if your parent is happy that you went to Europe and you never came back, we also have to believe that we also have to go to Europe and never come back. So it's just the general opinion of Europe, actually. When you look at Europe and Africa, there's a huge gap. Like the gap is huge, especially in my perception. Like Europe is considered generally, let's not like pinpoint countries, but it's generally quote unquote developed, and we are underdeveloped, like so much that we don't want to associate ourselves with the continent and everything. So I think in as much as there have been like things like the EU Africa summits where they've been trying to help the continent, you know, with things like food security and health and donating vaccines and things of the sort, I think there's more to be done. For example, right now at ALA, we do African studies and we do a lot of decolonial thinking, like thinking about how we can escape such powers, and it's very contradictory to how people at home still think of Europe and Africa. It's just like another one is like the boss and we are just the followers. But well, in the real world, we've seen them try to actually meet together, you know, try to find a balance, like African leaders and leaders from Europe. They're actually trying to work things out, and I still hope that there's hope, even though some people are still hurt by the curse of Berlin and everything, but I think there's hope. I think African and European countries should not cooperate more, and Africa should look elsewhere. I don't think elsewhere is something they're currently exposed to, but that's what I generally think, because our history is actually very rocky. I think what European countries actually did, like the whole concept of colonization doesn't sit well with me as a person, and I think it's very unfair that the effects of coloniality still remain with us. Like if you offer me a school in France now, I'll still want to go. Like, of course I know this and I think like this, but I'll still want to go. Like, that's so engraved, that's so far, like they're so deep within us, and we can't just leave them. And it's kind of like if we ever break out of that, we are alone, or we'll have to look to the US more, and it's like everything is going to be very rocky. I think international relations is very hard, but if there was somewhere to look, I'd actually advise Africa to go look in there.